Ranking every Survivor auction from worst to best. Keep track of my rankings and let me know if you agree with them down in the comments. Number 16, Survivor Worlds Apart. Not to say this isn't a unique Survivor auction with interesting elements taking place with the letters from home and a bid for an advantage. Actually, yeah, it's those very two things that make this auction unique that also make it the worst auction of all time. It's the straw that breaks the camel's or Jeff Probst's back to retire the Survivor auction forever. Sharon gets super meta with Survivor and breaks the auction in the process by predicting everyone will get the letters from home for whatever the winning bid is, but at the same time we have 3 players refusing to play the auction in hopes for an advantage. Making a little agreement along the way for letters from home, Mike turns his back and lies, only to flip-flop again. All in all, just a messy finale to the auction. Let's make one thing clear before we keep going. I love the Survivor auction, and even the worst of the worst I still consider fun TV moments. Way back in my day, I would even search on YouTube Survivor auction highlights because of how much I love them. But with that said, there is for sure some auctions better than others. If you're paying attention, you would have figured it out, but today's task is simple. Rank every Survivor auction from worst to best. I'll be giving fun facts for each auction along the way, like how 5 players get the chance to play the Survivor auction more than once. Anyway, let's break it all down. Number 15, Survivor Thailand. If it wasn't for me being super bitter about Survivor Worlds Apart completely breaking the auction forever, I would have probably placed the Survivor Thailand auction in last place. This was the only time in Survivor history that we get a pre-merge auction with this on day 15, and it's so confusing. Instead of the classic auction of everyone bidding against each other, it's simply a back and forth bidding war between the 2 tribes. Underwhelming, and I'm glad we would never see it again. Number 14, Survivor the Australian Outback. One word, underwhelming. I get it, we need to start somewhere, as the Australian Outback would be the first ever Survivor auction, but after what we get here, I'm honestly surprised and happy that Jeff Probst wants to try it again. Just like the new era and the hourglass, we need to try every twist more than once. The items that get put out for this auction feel bland, maybe some budget issues and they couldn't afford fat guac, but I really like to see the players in future seasons freak out over all the food. We do get a little bit of fun though with Amber buying the first ever mystery item. Number 13, Survivor PALAU. At this point, players were still allowed to share money together to bid on items, and with that we get a funny moment of Stephanie and Karen pulling their money together, winning a mystery item, and with a game-changing strategy of smelling the covered item, end up making the correct decision. Number 12, Survivor the Amazon. This would be the very first time the players can bid on letters from home, later becoming the most common auction item. This is a big deal, like really big deal, causing drama between Christy and Jenna. It's fine, it's a Survivor auction, but it's a little bit boring compared to what we're going to be talking about later in the video. Number 11, Survivor Samoa. Much like how Survivor was turning into a more strategy heavy game, the strategy behind the auction was getting more interesting as well, with Jeff putting up an advantage in the next immunity challenge. At this point, you need to remember that multiple people still had $500 left in the auction, so Jason asked the important question, what happens? And Jeff explains someone's gonna get to $500 first. No, Jeff, that's wrong. We all know from Survivor CAGAYAN that everyone draws a rock in that situation. Anyway, Jason ends up going all in for that advantage, and we get the first clue to a hidden immunity idol being offered, highlighting the beginning of the end for the auction, having most of the big moments being non-food related. And I can't talk about Survivor Samoa without talking about Russell Hantz. At this point, you probably think I'm obsessed with him. I just really want to pass him in subscribers. So if you're enjoying this video, please consider subscribing, and as a bonus, when we hit 5,000 subscribers, I'll be making a dedicated video on the downfall of Russell Hantz. Number 10, Survivor Guatemala. And this is where we start to get to the point with Jeff Probst finding that smooth format for how he wants Survivor auctions to run. Finally cracking that top 10, we get a lot of first time moments taking place this season, with Danny being the first to buy an advantage in the next immunity challenge, and Judd spending the most money ever at $880 with sharing money with Cindy Hall for the loved ones. It becomes common for the players in danger to try their best to bid on an advantage, and it's cool to see Danny set the tone right here. Number 9, Survivor Philippines. Again, we get a nice quality auction, starving people are eating food, everything I'm looking for in reality TV. I could easily be persuaded to change the bottom half of these rankings around, but I have an obvious bias for HD Survivor seasons, with only having one classic era season left to talk about in this video. Anyway, Carter decides on rice for the tribe instead of a baked potato. Number 8, Survivor One World. Fun fact, this auction takes place on day 25. Normally I would say that's a lame fact, but it's kinda cool that a large majority of the auctions take place on day 25. 28, but this and Survivor Worlds Apart takes place on day 25. Another rule of the Survivor auction is that all players get a predetermined amount of money, and the players get to keep all the money they don't spend. For the first time in Survivor history, someone puts that into their strategy, with Tarzan needing some new car parts back at home. Also Cat, classic Survivor Cat.
Yo, there's bacon on there.
Did you just say there's bacon and he clearly said that was a BLT?
Number 7, Survivor Caramoan. In most cases, the more fun the players are having, the more fun the auction feels. Meaning the more fun I think the auction gets, the better it's gonna rank on my list. I really encourage you all to go back and re-watch all these auctions for yourself, because it just feels weird to spat out all the best moments from every single auction. For example, in Survivor Caramoan, we have Brenda eating pig brains even though she doesn't eat pork, Reynolds with the fake Monty Hall problem, Sherry offering $500 for Reynolds' wrong choice of pizza, Malcolm going into the auction saying no food, only bidding on advantages, only to buy the very first item for $20, chugging the beer right in front of Jeff, and Cochran.
Cochran, how often does that happen?
More often than you think.
Number 6, Survivor Cook Islands. New additions this time around is having the ability to send someone to Exile Island and stealing all their money along the way. Jeff Probst tries to tease the idea that maybe the hidden immunity idol is still on Exile, only for Yul to pull a boss move and show everyone the idol. And really, for here on out, every auction is filled with fun moments from start to finish. Number 5, Survivor CAGAYAN. In my opinion, this is the better version of the auction that would also be seen in Survivor Worlds Apart. Players are holding out for advantages and strategies at the forefront, but all these players are actually having fun. Fat dip of guac. This is the least amount of money ever spent in an auction, with only $360. Tony, Spencer, and Tasha save all their money for an advantage, only for Tasha to decide to pass on it and Tony winning the advantage due to the new format causing a rock draw. And due to the rule of auctions ending without notice, Tasha is left not bidding at all. Number 4, Survivor Gabon. Sugar purposely bidding on items to raise the price. Cookiegate arguments between Sugar and Randy. Ken stealing $500 from Bob. Susie getting out of the bath almost instantly due to pooping in it, and Karim being the only player in Survivor history to receive an advantage in the next challenge and not winning that next challenge. Number 3, Survivor Africa. We all knew it was coming. This is the Survivor auction done perfectly in the old school era of Survivor. Higher emphasis on actually having fun, really good quality items, and this moment right here.
Ham! He's a Jew and he won't eat the ham! He's a Jew! He's a Jew!
Number 2, Survivor Tocanshins. I just gotta say, this auction right here and the Survivor Guatemala auction take place on day 31, which is crazy when you remember Survivor seasons are only 26 days long at this point. I'm ranking this one so high for specifically remember watching it live and see Taj break down.
Oh my god. Just dawned on her.
Number 1, Survivor Micronesia. No sharing of money, no sharing of food. James eating some bat soup, 60 seconds of a limited chocolate cake. Eric offering Sari $40 to eat the cake off her fingers. Oh baby.
Oh, baby.
Oh, baby.
Oh, that's sad. Something's wrong with that boy.
If you want to see another video just like this, then click here for every Survivor fire making challenge ranked worst to best.
Finally gonna have to say I'm better than you.